I've made and seen a lot of videos, but this one right here is the most valuable yet on this channel. 3 millionaire traders teaching you how to trade SPY, showing you exactly how they execute trades, and teaching you how to make money in the stock market. Let's get right to it.
Now I rep the O, what you know about the west side? I just bought a whip, all in cash, live my best life. Bought a couple stocks, so I'm covered for the next 5. I don't like the top, but I know if you test me.
What's going on, money team? It's your boy Jdun Trades with Team Bull Trading, and I hope you're all having an amazing day. In today's video, I brought 2 of Team Bull's top traders, top SPY snipers on to teach you how to trade SPY and go over a setup today that brought them over 100% in day trading profits. So in this video, we got myself, Jdun Trades, we got Brandon Trades teaching you everything he knows about his setup and how to day trade SPY. And of course, for a third day in a row, we got Grizzly Trades on here showing you how he snipes. This is an amazing video and I can't wait to share it with you. Let's go. What's going on, guys? How we doing today?
Good.
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. We're all here live. We got some amazing value to give these people. And I wanted to start this video out by saying the last 2 days, Grizzly and I, we've both done this. We've came on and showed some of our SPY strategies, but we figured what a better way to not just have ours, but to add a third amazing trader, SPY trader specifically, Mr. Brandon Trades, Car Horns. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me.
So before we get into the meat of how you guys both basically had the same trade, you both caught over 100% today on SPY. I want to go over real quick, Brandon, a little bit about you. How did you first get into trading? What's your trading style primarily? Try to break that up, simplify it for us, and give these people a taste of what they're about to get with getting to know you.
All right, cool. So if you guys follow me, most of you probably already know, but growing up throughout my whole life, I wanted to be a state trooper and, not getting, into the whole police thing. But as I got older, like towards the end of high school, I noticed like, all right, policing isn't like the best thing to do. And I wasn't good at school. Like I graduated high school with like a 1.65 or 1.85 GPA and just didn't care about school whatsoever. So I couldn't do anything else in life. Like I didn't know what else to do. So I knew I had to do something to get out of that, becoming a police officer. One day I was on YouTube, came across some dude making like a few thousand day trading. I was like, whoa, what is that? So I clicked on it and I started watching. And I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. So I knew about the stock market previously just because my grandfather, long-term investor, but not day trading specifically. So I started watching it, and then I started getting into swing trading. That's just because I was working full time. I was going to school, didn't really have the time to like sit here and put in, hours upon hours watching the market. So got into swing trading. That went pretty good, and then other things led to the next, and now we're here. That's pretty much it.
So you're basically telling me you went from wanting to be a cop and wanting to catch murderers to murdering the stock market every day.
Yes, needing lawyers left and right.
That is quite the flip of careers, my guy. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think it's really cool to say for everyone listening that goes to show, you had this whole different career path you wanted. You said the best student in high school. I was not either. I dropped out of high school, so feel you on that. Can't speak for Grizzly. And you found a way with trading, which is so inspirational and so cool for a lot of people that are coming up and learning.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So as far as our trades from today and what we're looking at, for myself, I don't have much to pitch to this. As today I was watching this, I had a few scalps, over $5,000 in the day, as you can see here, but I actually started today red. Now, I was red actually going halfway against what you guys were doing. Now, I took this light. It was basically a break-even trade. I was down I think like $700 or something like that. So little red for my first trade. Got that back on 2 scalps to the downside. And what I was looking at was this. So you guys are going to go over this in just a second, but we were going up. We had this big candle up. You guys added puts, I believe, at 394.5 to 6. And then you, Brandon, specifically, you nailed puts right on this top candle right here at the tippy top. Now, for myself, I saw these 2 up. I didn't hop in any puts here. I let my bias get the best of me. I saw this pullback Tried to add calls right here at 394. Actually got filled a little lower. Saw a little move up, but then ended up stopping out after this drill candle down. Trimmed up here, but ended up actually being run in the trade on this move down. So caught two different scalps, both to the downside here and then back here again. But other than that, you know, it wasn't my best trading day. Sized up a little bit, caught some nice scalps again, over 5,000 on the day. But the star of the show is your guys' A+ setups, your guys' 100% plus move on SPY. Nice and easy 15-20 minute workday. And I want to transition the screen over to you, Brandon, first to show these people how you trade and how you were able to find that setup and finish your workday in 20 minutes if you would have chosen to do so. So I'm going to send this over to you.
Cool. Let's do it.
It's all you, fam.
Cool. So kind of just reviewing this SPY trade from earlier and why I was more biased to the downside today. Something that I've been using a lot recently has been the Fibonacci retracements, and it's really just looking at the 50% and 61.8% retracement. So going into I guess yesterday, actually, you can see SPY on the daily time frame. We had this major trend line right here that I've been watching, and then we ended up just flushing below it yesterday. So seeing that's just hinting bearish. So again, just based off of this, I knew I ideally wanted to look for puts. But other than that, using my Fibonacci retracements, again, taking pivot low, pivot high, we were below these retracements. So I have, you know, there's no bounce there. And then if we start taking this low to this high, well, we have no bounce till down here. And then if we take this low to this high, we have no bounce till all the way down here.
And time out real quick. Do you only use the 61.8 and the 50?
Yes.
Okay. I just saw that and I just wanted to make sure. That's interesting. You'll have to elaborate on that later. It's cool.
Yeah. So because there's no other clear-cut pivot low to pivot high, I have no other place that I could possibly draw a fib. So if we're going to bounce it, you know, I don't know if it's going to be at 389.4 or all the way down here at 371.75. But what I know today is we're nowhere near that level. So ideally, I'm going to be looking for puts. Now, another way that I help determine the overall trend in the market is I'll set up a 1 hour and 4 hour time frame right here. I'll also throw up a daily. And what I have on these screens right here is I have my EMA stack. So this is just Fibonacci EMAs 5, 8, 21, 34, 55, 89. And typically what I look for is if the 5 is below the 8, so green below yellow, 8 below 21, 21 below 34, 34 below 55, 55 below 89, this is a bearish stack. And this is pretty much telling me ideally I want to look for puts. So again, you can see that we started stacking down a few days ago. Yesterday, continued momentum down. So I saw that on the 1 hour, saw it on the 4 hour as well. And then the daily, we were losing the daily 21 EMA, which is very important. And we had room to that daily 34, which was pretty much the bottom for today. So at this point, I started looking for other reject areas that we could potentially use. And I'll tell you guys how I found the exact one that we had today. But again, going back to the Fibonacci, I mean, there was no clear pivot high to pivot low that we could use for a reject. So last week I gave this reject right here at 406.36 and it hit it pretty good, but you can just see I took pivot high, pivot low. But you know, going to what we have now over here, you can see that we had a pivot high, pivot low here, but we broke below this level in the pre-market. So now at this point, the only possible reject we could actually watch is here, but it ended up hitting it in the pre-market. So that was all invalid. So from there, again, because we're stacked down, I was more biased towards the downside. But the way that I found the possible reject that we were watching was actually this 1 hour 21 EMA. And then I knew from the past that here, hold on, let me pull this up. We traded that 395 level multiple times in the past. So I knew that we could potentially see price action at that area if we just put on, you know, 395 right there. You can see with support way back here, resistance through here, support through here. And then I think we like kind of bounced off of it yesterday, rejected it in the pre-market. So 395 was a huge level. Now, I don't have the exact reject that I was watching today. I think it was like 394.2 was where that 1 hour 21 EMA was.
Yeah, that's
so as SPY, what's up?
Yeah, that's where it was at. That's the exact level you was watching.
Yeah, so when I'm looking for rejects and bounces, I'm looking for a relatively big move going into the area. Because if we go down to just the basic trend of a stock, pivot high or higher highs, higher lows, we're not going to go up forever. More than likely, we're going to get some kind of pullback. And if we know where a possible reject area is to get that pullback, that's where we can get a low risk entry. So, now, if it starts trading up towards my reject level and it kind of just consolidated right here and then tried to break it, in my opinion, it's lower probability. That's why I look for that big move into the area. So if we're looking at SPY, we opened at 392.87, dipped down to 392.60, and then immediately started ripping up. And eventually, again, that 395, which is going to come into play. This just shows that, okay, this is a relatively big move. And I think it was in the first 7 minutes. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7, 8 minutes. It's a big move for SPY. More than likely, we're going to get some kind of pullback. So as SPY started trading up towards, what was that? The 394.2, that's when I ended up getting my first entry. Now, it ended up blowing past the level. And remembering that 395 was important, that was a specific area I was watching. Now, when it comes to rejects, whether it be the fibs, just basic support and resistance, bounces, whatever it is, anything that has to do with bounce and rejects, I specifically watch the 1 minute time frame. Because what I've noticed, I would say recently, probably in these last 2 to 3 months, is my highest probability setup is when we come up to those rejects or down to the bounces and we slightly either break above or break below in a bounce scenario. So in this scenario with SPY, we broke above 395. They tried to push it and then immediately they rejected it back down. Also at this area, we had the daily 21 EMA, which was also a very important level. So the fact that they broke it above here immediately said nope, and then brought it back down below 395, which was previous support and resistance, that was enough validation for me to get my second ad with a stop loss literally right above 395.3. So if, I'm sure people got just the second entry with us in voice, but if
that was
you
a
got
banger
in,
call out. That was a banger call out.
Thank you. So let's just say theoretically, we got just one ad, right, at 394.9. You have a stop loss of like 40, 50 cents to the upside. All it has to do is break above here, get some strength, boom, you're out. And this thing ended up dropping from, again, let's just say 394.9 all the way down to 392. So a $3 drop risking 40 to 50 cents.
That's like 6R right there.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So I mean, that was pretty much all there was to the trade. The main thing I stress about this is, again, because I've noticed it's been very successful. Again, I'm watching level 2. I'm watching the volume. So looking at this 1 minute volume bar right here, especially the 1 minute volume bars going up, you can kind of see wider body, low volume. But the specific reject candle right here, look at the volume compared to the previous candles. So just sniping an entry gives a fantastic risk to reward. And if it did hit the stop, so what? It's going to be a super small stop and then, reward substantial.
So I'm curious too, Brandon, did you use that previous area of confluence of 395 from the daily chart on this, or was the daily chart not at all involved in you looking at this trade?
So the 395 level itself.
Yeah. So you know how we kind of like chopped around that area back and forth. You can see bottom bounces, rejects, like it was a very kind of like an inflection point. I was just curious if you use the daily chart at all or the bigger time frames for this, or if you only used it to dictate your trend.
Trying to find, where's my other chart at? Hold on. 395, it's on the chart because I knew that we've traded it before. But also if we look at the daily time frame, we also had 395.37 as the daily 21 EMA. So again, as you see it, like literally hardly peaked above it later in the day. But yeah, so daily 21 EMA, 1 hour 21 EMA, 395 that we've traded before, all of that confluence plus the huge move up, understanding that, a move like this isn't sustainable. We're going to at least get some kind of pullback. Could it continue to go up? Of course. But again, risk to reward was fantastic with this. So
I love that. And I think it's really unique and cool for anyone viewing this to see, for example, the difference between how I trade and you trade and the tools we use and what we're about to see with Grizzly, just to piece all those pieces together as we each have so much valuable knowledge and to kind of formulate and find their own edge, which I think I love watching you teach, which by the way, if anyone doesn't know, I'm going to attach all of his socials below. He teaches on YouTube every day as well. Instagram, Twitter, definitely got to check those out. All of it for free on all the socials. And there's just so much to learn that you can take from that, even just like that clip right there and look, okay, maybe I could try this next time to get this perspective or this next time to get this perspective. I think that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess that being said, is there anything you want to show us or leave off before you give the screen to Grizzly, or do you just want to send it on over?
Watch these bounce areas. And again, use that 1 minute rule that I just showed you guys. Look for the break below, reclaim, get that low risk entry. It hits the stop, small stops, big wins. That's it.
I love it. Well, send it on over to Grizzly Glock.
Well, I don't know if I have that much reasoning behind this trade, but let's see what we got here. So first off, I was watching this 394 level for a reject, which happened to be prior day close, what SPY closed at the day before. And if you look at ES and SPX, they all hit that prior day close at the same time, which, to me, that adds more probability of a reject because there's a reasoning behind, why they was chosen to, close at that specific price. Also, going into this, I knew high of day, that 395 area, which has acted as support or resistance in the past, could possibly be my second ad, which was right at high of day. And it added to my confidence in this trade when Brandon was watching that for a second ad as well. Kind of helped me hold on. My first ad was at 390, right below this 394. I got filled, I believe it was at like 120 per contract. Then we pushed on up. My second ad was right at 90. Brandon pretty much signaled the top of this candle here. We got in. And my final sell was right at 100% on this trade. It worked out well. Honestly, when I look at this, we're just going with the trend. If you look at the hourly time frame, whatever, the last few days, we've been trending down. And that was just kind of my thought process going into this. I wanted to look for short entries, and it worked out. But choppy day overall. We really caught probably one of the best trades of the day there, in my opinion.
And that's the crazy part, Grizz, is all it takes is one good trade a day. Even if we chop for 90% of the day, if you can find that one good trade, which, we love to do in Team Bull, and you guys especially love to do, then that's all you need every single day.
I would like to talk about a losing trade I took today too. I feel like that'll help people out. And the only reason this was a losing trade is because I didn't follow my trading plan 100%. I took this trade based off news alone and something I have written specifically in my trading plan. I told everyone I was done trading, and I took another trade, and it failed. And people was like, "So how are you going to handle this losing trade? They don't bother me at this point. I write them down. I always be sure to write them down, because if you do not write them down, if you can't physically see what you're doing wrong, you're going to continue to do it. If you have it physically written down, you can look back and say, okay, on this day I did this, on this day I did this, and on this day I need to cut it out. I need to figure why I'm doing it wrong. And, I just go on to I turn it into a learning experience. I go on to the next trade.
That was off the Putin puts, huh?
Yes, I let the chat get me. The chat got me on that.
Everyone's
I'm still up nice on the day, but still, it was a stupid trade. I give back like $400 or $500 on that trade that I shouldn't have,
Everyone was like, Putin's nuking, nuclear war. And we saw that sharp move down, and then it ended up, ripping up.
It got me, man.
So I guess to wrap this up, I said in the last two videos, I'll say this again in this third one, I think these can be very beneficial and very valuable for anyone watching. Do you guys have any closing comments, remarks you would say to someone that's learning how to trade SPY or just learning how to trade in general that you wish you would have known from the start? Or maybe you just have something that's been on your mind and you just want to help someone out with a tip on trading or life in general.
Yeah, I guess do not fight the trend for one, because that's come back and got me. If you do fight the trend and take a bounce, treat it as a scalp. Okay, you're not going to get a huge return. It's a scalp trade. And put education before trading. A lot of times people ask me, like, what amount should I start with? The amount's not important. If you I don't care if you have $1 million and you start trading before you learn, you will lose it all. So
heck, you can lose 10 billion. Look at Sam from FTX.
yeah, for real.
Straight up.
Or you can be like me and lose 10,000 on an Amazon trade. You know, this is, you better put education first, or you will lose it all.
Facts. And you, Brandon?
The main thing I would say is A+ setups only. What's the one book that says you take one good trade after one good trade? It's by the SMB Capital guy, right?
I think it's literally called One Good Trade.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
one good trade by Mark Bellafiore.
Yes. So a lot of people ask, because I always stress, I only take A+ setups. And everybody says, how do you identify A+ setups? And literally, if you just start trading, you're gonna have to take trades and you're gonna have to learn from trial and error. But what I say is very important is journaling every single trade you take. And by the time you take, I would say 50 to 100 trades, you're gonna start noticing patterns. So using my fibs for, oh my God, you're gonna have to cut that out. Using my fibs, for example, right? Or the 395 reject that we got. I noticed that an A+ setup for me after doing this over and over and over again is when we break above, come back down, small stop, huge reward potential. So the only way you'll figure that out is by journaling over and over and over again. What works, what doesn't work. This year, the orbs, we've talked about this multiple times. Orbs haven't really worked out. So when I go back and journal, okay, last year orbs were A+ for me. This year, they're more like a C+ or a B-. So if I'm going to take an orb, it's going to be lighter size. But right now, this is my A+, so I'm going to be going heavier. And then just anything that, isn't working out for you, you simply don't take the trade. One good trade after one good trade.
And that is all amazing A+ advice. And I want to add on to that too with what you said, just like how you mentioned orbs, and the opening range breakout over like the 5-minute, 15-minute candle last year worked out great. This year, not so much. So what trading takes long-term, and I'm sure you guys will agree, is, it's not the strong that survive, it's the adaptable that survive. And you have to be able to adapt to any market conditions. And if you're not willing to adapt, you're probably not going to be trading for the long run.
Yeah, well said.
You feel?
Yes.
So I think that will wrap us up for the day. Thank you guys so much for coming on. And I'm sure we will all be back super soon to give even more value on the channel. And make sure to just pause real quick. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys tap below this video. Check out both their socials. Grizzly Instagram live every single day. Brandon YouTube live every single morning as well. All the socials will be linked, and they both have tons of free and very valuable game for you guys to learn from. And we all trade live in Team Bull. So that's that.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, fellas.
All right. Enjoy your nights.
All right. Catch you guys later.
For having us.
Peace.
Thank you.
Now I rep the O, what you know about the west side? I just bought a whip, all in cash, live my best life.